That's drunk. In Christmas of 1994, my one Super Nintendo game that I was allowed to get ended up being Madden NFL 95. Exactly what I would have wanted at the time. You can see how thrilled I am here holding up Beavis and Butthead's Encyclopedia to go along with it. But yeah, when it came to the Madden series back then, each entry in the series was actually different, and, actually improved on things year to year, unlike today. I had the original SNES port of John Madden Football, which was good enough for the time, but yeah, check out that frame rate. What is this, like 2 frames per second? A couple years after that game, my childhood friend down the road got Madden 94 when it came out, and now suddenly we got real players, tons of stats, and a much bigger playbook that opened up the gameplay a lot more. So I asked for Madden 95 that next Christmas, expecting even better things, and it absolutely delivered. For the first time, I could vicariously live through my perpetually disappointing Minnesota Vikings and actually win a championship with that year's roster. Yeah, Warren Moon tossing bombs to the missile Kadri Ishmael, that's what I'm talking about. But what I was not prepared for in Madden 95 is how screwed up this game can get. We've got invincible players, bizarre coaching decisions, the computer stealing timeouts from you, there's animals calling each other on the phone while John Madden smiles approvingly. It is wild. If we want to try and figure out why, we gotta talk for a second about the development history of Madden on the Super Nintendo. The original Madden was developed by Park Place Productions, a team of folks that mostly made games for personal computer systems like the Amiga and Commodore 64, including stuff like TV sports football. Madden, however, was meant for the Sega Genesis, and it got a port to the Super Nintendo in 1991 before Park Place disbanded and closed its doors. So, for next year's game, publisher Electronic Arts turned to Blue Sky Productions, later known as Looking Glass Technologies, an outfit that went on to make games like Thief: The Dark Project and System Shock. The development turnover continued on to the next year's game, and while EA was doing cartwheels over how the Madden series was selling on the Sega Genesis, the first 2 Maddens on Super Nintendo were lacking by comparison, mostly due to performance issues, like that frame rate of 2 frames per second I mentioned earlier. Electronic Arts wisely turned to Super Nintendo development veterans Visual Concepts to take care of Madden 94's Super Nintendo port. They were in the midst of creating their popular Clay Fighter series, and had already successfully ported Desert Strike to the old SNES. And sure enough, the improvement from Madden 93 to 94 is evident right away. The players are faster and a little more detailed, but more importantly, the overall gameplay actually kinda sorta started to resemble real football. Well, until we get to Madden 95. This is the first game in the series on Super Nintendo that featured the same developer as the previous year, so you'd think it'd just be bigger and better like a sequel should be, right? Kind of, but it's also a whole lot weirder. Now, I think most folks watching this probably know this channel pretty well, so you know I've got just a wee bit of experience with old video games, but I don't think I have ever played a Super Nintendo game that behaves as strangely and as randomly as Madden 95. And I'm talking as it is, out of the box, not actively trying to glitch the game and screw things up. No emulation, no hacks or improvement patches. This game is just messed up, all on its own. And most of it appears to come from one thing, the computer losing. Seriously, the computer in this game has a temper. Now, this isn't anything new. Take NBA Jam, for instance. Lead programmer Mark Turmel confirmed in an interview with ESPN that anytime the Bulls played the Pistons, Scottie Pippen's ratings would drop and he'd play like crap. Why? Because Turmel was a Pistons fan and he hated the Bulls, so he skewed the game a little bit to favor the Pistons. Is it unfair? Well, yeah, obviously, that's the whole idea. But in Madden 95, it's almost like you can feel the computer getting angry with you. But the thing is, the game only acts up at a certain time, and it's almost always during either the conference championship game or the Super Bowl. Like here, I'm playing as my Minnesota Vikings against the Los Angeles Rams in the NFC title game. Now, I know Jerome Bettis was one of the best running backs in the league at this point, but come on. He sends Jack Del Rio flying in the other direction, then he proceeds to glide through the entire defense and do whatever this dance is. It's not just legitimately great players that mess up the game either. The computer could pick any random dude and deem them unstoppable. In this case, it's Don Beebe, a perfectly average third wide receiver, but against the Vikings in the Super Bowl, he's a hybrid of Jerry Rice and Randy Moss as he runs 100 miles an hour into the end zone. Man, there are few things as humbling in a video game than when frickin' Don Beebe, of all people, runs past your entire defense and hits the cabbage patch on you. I mean, damn. There's also incredibly cheap nonsense here too, like when you get too big of a lead, then here come the injuries to try and slow you down, and you got sideline reporter Mary Snow interrupting the game after every other play to tell you that Henry Thomas aggravated an injury he sustained in practice. Wait, what? We're talking about practice? It gets even worse than that, because when I check my roster to see who my backup defensive tackle is, I notice that, what the hell? All of my starters are on the bench? Yeah, the game just decided to bench everyone and play all my backups. What the hell is that? What's really crazy is how the computer handles timeouts. It'll be the end of the first half, and I'm running the ball pretty well at about 6 yards a pop, and the computer starts calling timeouts, presumably to save some clock and get the ball back before halftime. So we get timeout number 1, timeout number 2, timeout number 3, and then the computer starts calling cities. No, not teams, just the city of Oakland. Remember, this game reflects the 1994 teams and rosters, and the Raiders were still in Los Angeles and had not moved to Oakland yet. So we got teams calling cities just to say what's up. When we go back to the game to pick the next play, I notice that the computer now suddenly has their full slate of timeouts again, while I am missing one. This cheating-ass bastard stole a timeout from me. This is just crazy behavior, and it makes me think of John Boyce's fantastic Breaking Madden series on SB Nation. Who'd have thought Madden had already been broken for years before that? Although in this case, to reference another SB Nation staple, this is more like hatin'-ass Madden, because this is just straight-up BS. The computer doesn't stop at stealing one timeout. It continues to call, random things, like in the Super Bowl against the Bills, Buffalo decides to call some Jaguars. Like the Buffalo Wild Wings mascot wanted to say what's up to his buddy Bagheera from the Jungle Book. Doubling down on the weirdness is that the computer oscillates between desperately manipulating the game to its favor to just completely forgetting about the game entirely. Like here, I'm up 7 with time running out in the Super Bowl, I'm running out the clock, and the computer just gives up. Like, dude, not only do you have all 3 timeouts, you can also call cities and animals to stop the clock. But no, apparently the computer got distracted by their phone in the middle of the game or something and just stopped paying attention. Or maybe it just rage quit. So I think that about covers it. The computer screws with your roster, steals your timeouts, makes certain players unstoppable at a moment's notice, and just generally fills the game with nonsense. And again, just to reiterate, this is all stuff that happened in the game when I was a kid, and I was able to easily recreate every glitch while playing it on my Super NT. I don't know why Madden 95 hates whoever plays it, and I don't know what causes these problems, but if you have any similar stories of a game just outright hating you for playing it, let me know in the comments. But in the meantime, that's all for now, and I want to thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.